Hi guys, welcome. In this video we're going to be taking a look at my first Hyrox. Now in this video you're going to see Martin in his very newbie state taking on the very first Hyrox that he's ever done. You're going to see all the mistakes he made and you're going to see all the foibles and struggles that very new to Hyrox Martin faced. Now people who have frequented my channel for a while now will know that I've done plenty of Hyroxes. In fact I've done 14, 15 and 16 have been booked, so I consider myself relatively experienced now as a Hyrox. Right? I'm in my 4th season, over 3 years of competing, lots and lots of wisdom and experience building up in my brain. But every story has an origin and this is mine. This is where it all started. But why am I making this video now? There is already a video about my first Hyrox. If you go back through my channel, back over 100 videos ago, you will see that there is a video about my first Hyrox, and it's this video. Now why am I choosing to come back to it? Well, for a few different reasons. One, I made that video before I was promoting my YouTube sort of as aggressively as I am now. I didn't really put any thought into the edit, just smooshed a few clips together, smashed some audio over the top and threw it up onto YouTube, and it did okay. It had over 4,000 hits, but before long YouTube had detected some music on it and copyrighted, protected it, and the video died. It's a bit rubbish. There's no context, there's no narration, there's no talking really over the top of it whatsoever. So I'm taking this as an opportunity to look back retrospectively at that first race with the eyes of an experienced Hyroxer. I can now sort of dissect it, sort of self-deprecate, tongue-in-cheek humour, look at my first race. Now there's going to be lots of bits that people are going to be able to relate to. There's going to be people that have not yet done Hyroxes that will look at this and think, ah yes, that's a clue, I won't do that, or I will do this. And there'll be other people that will be able to say, yeah, I did that as well. That, you know, I went to my first race, that's exactly what happened to me. So I'm going to format this video like I do all of my race day videos, and I'm going to play the highlights of my race. I'm then going to sort of poke fun at it as we go through, picking out the good bits and almost definitely lots of bad bits. But before we get started, I think it's important to tell you the origin story. I always like to tell a story about how I got to a race in the first place, not just the race itself, because that can be a little bit samey, a little bit boring. Now, we'd just come out of the restrictions from COVID. It was 2021. I'd been running all the way through COVID. I had become lean and light and good at running fast and far, right? I could do that really well. So when I started to look around on the internet for other things to take part in, I found a little advert on Facebook for Hyrox. I thought, okay, this is new, this is interesting. So I signed up to it in the December before the January event. Back then you could just get tickets by adding to basket. Unbelievable. It was a whole new world. And so yeah, I went to this event a little bit naive, a little bit unprepared, but most importantly, overconfident. And by that I mean I looked at the race format, I looked at each of the exercises in isolation. I knew that I could do all of it, but what I hadn't considered is doing all of it in one go at race pace. So I'd gone into this thinking, well, I'm good at running, I do go to the gym, I can do all of these exercises, of course I'm going to be epic at Hyrox. I mean, this is where the naivety started. So I went to my first race at Hyrox Manchester in the January of 2022, and I was out in one of the very first waves. So I arrived and there wasn't hardly anybody there. I was able to walk around the track, mooching around, and I didn't get to see the race properly in its racing format until I was kind of doing it. So I'd had almost no exposure to this race. I mean, back then there wasn't even the social media exposure that we've got today. The Instagram page was fledgling. I wasn't part of any of the forums or Facebook groups, so I had almost no exposure to it whatsoever. So I went in blind, naive and overconfident. Okay, so that is my origin story. That's the reason that I started doing Hyroxes in the first place. But I think it's about time we took a look at what that looked like on the actual day. Now this is a little bit difficult for me to watch because I do so many things wrong, but it's important to see how far we've come. So I'm going to take you back in time now to 2022. Hi everyone, today we are at the Manchester Convention Centre for Hyrox. As you can see, there is all of the events in the middle, and I am on the running track around the outside. It is loud in here, so there's not going to be much talking today, and I'm not wearing a camera, so it's all going to be filmed from Holly. Looking forward to this. Okay guys, this is the part of the video where I cringe through my race day footage. Don't worry, this isn't the entire thing. This is just a few highlights to show you how terrible it was for me. Throughout this video, I'm going to flash up the occasional bit of video from one of my most recent Hyroxes to show you how I do it differently these days. Right, let's press play, shrink me down into the corner and go. Following the wave leader, the sort of shirtless guy with the six-pack and nice tan, as we go around those first few laps, coming into station number 1, 1,000 meters on the ski erg. The very first thing you will notice on this station is that my reps are very shallow. I'm not leaning all the way into it, I'm not standing all the way up, and it's only because I hadn't trained on this piece of equipment significantly before this event. Maybe only once or twice had I ever pulled the ski erg handles prior to this event. It was only through side-eyeing the guys left and right of me that I really opened up at all on the day. I got a 4 minutes 29, which is about 30 seconds slower than what I'm on now. So we're coming into exercise station number 2, the sled push. Now the sled push is always a contentious one because it has always felt a little bit tougher in real life on race day than it does sort of in your training environment, and none more so than on this event where I was particularly light and particularly untrained for this particular event. Nothing had prepared me for the compromised legs sensation, the amount that it detriments your legs to the point where they're almost unusable. They turn into like jelly. Now with regards to time, I did this in a 2 minutes 51. I generally like to try and get this done under 2 minutes these days, so it's about a minute slower. But as you look down that line of people pushing those sleds, everybody is finding it difficult. Now it's hard to know, unless I could go back in time and try and push that again. I really couldn't tell you how that compares to the carpet and the new center sleds that we push these days, but I distinctly remember thinking, damn, this is really, really hard work. Out onto run 3, heading into the sled pull. Now again, the sled pull is something I had practiced quite a bit and enjoyed it, but I now had the sled push in my legs, so I was already a bit taxed. And the first thing you'll notice is that I am doing arm over arm, and now I'm doing sort of the hip extension pull. At no point was I doing the walk back. In fact, if you look down the line of people, hardly anybody is doing the walk back as you see it today. It's really interesting. In those early days, before all of the hints and tips videos and all of the social media influencers had told you to do this and to do that, it's interesting to see how it was done then. And if you look down the line nowadays, you would see everybody is going to be walking it back, using your body weight, then your arms. And yeah, it has changed. So with regards to time on this one, it's a 4:24, which is about 30 to 45 seconds slower than what I currently do. Now we're out onto run 4. Now this is where the wheels really did fall off. Within a few burpees, I was already calling out to Holly to pass me a sweatband because I couldn't see at all. And I distinctly remember thinking, oh my god, I can't see. And by today's rules, you're not allowed to pass things to the athletes, and I didn't even know that at the time. But as you can see, I've now got a sweatband on, and it's why I've wore a sweatband in every single race I've done since, because of the pain I was in then with the sweat in my eyes was excruciating. Now the pain was then replaced by the fact that I was doing burpees, an extraordinary amount of burpees. And I absolutely hate these. And looking at these, you would think that these were the worst burpees that I've ever done. But they're not. Over the course of doing my 14 Hyroxes, my burpees have fluctuated. They're not always good, they're sometimes bad. My most recent outing has been my best burpees yet, and that's due to a change in the form that I do. So we are now out onto run 5, into exercise station 5, which is the row. Now I can't row worth a toffee, my good friend John Stevenson will attest to that, but I can generate quite a bit of power. So, and that sometimes just gets me through this station. I generally like to row at around 150 per 500 meters and just hold it at that. If I want to preserve energy, I will allow that to drop to 2 minutes per 500. As you can see, my form is absolutely dreadful. I am all over the place like a sack of potatoes with arms. That's generally how I see myself. And I look at now my sweatband thinking, damn it man, put it on straight. In every photo that I had from this event, I've got the Under Armour logo just off to one side. It's so annoying to watch retrospectively. Okay, so we are now out into the next run 6, going into the farmer's carry. Now this has always been a favourite of mine, and I didn't particularly do too badly at this one. Looking at the time, I got a 1:48, which is comparable to my latest effort at Hyrox Glasgow. I did a 1:42 there. I don't think there's a huge amount of time to be saved on this station because it is such a short station. This is one just to coast through to allow the next run to be decent. So when you enter the lunges and then the wall balls, that you've still got some energy in the tank. Now my sandbag lunges came in at 6:34, suggesting that this is one of my absolute worst stations. Now I've made a great deal of improvement on this over time, certainly again at my most recent event at Hyrox Glasgow, and I'm hoping to keep this up. I've done an enormous amount of training on lunges in my gym, and in frequency I've increased the amount that I do. I've also been doing more compromised legs, where I've been running and then jumping off and doing a load of lunges and then back on the treadmill and then doing some squats and then doing some lunges, blah blah blah. I really struggled with these on the day, and I've struggled at them a few times over the 14 events that I've done. Now we're coming into wall balls now, and you can see that I am walking in the rock zone through the arch all the way right up to the station, and that should tell you all you need to know by how I was feeling. I was ruined, and I was still being expected to do these wall balls. This was tough. And I remember grizzling through these. I remember having to put the ball down after about 10, after about 20, and then my reps became less and less again. So my time on the lunges was 6:34. My time on the wall balls was 6:50. So both of these stations had an enormous amount of potential to save time. So this is where I focused my training therefore after, to try to improve one of the stations that I was weakest at. Two of the stations, in fact, a combination of the sandbag lunges, the wall balls and the burpees. If I could just improve those, I would be doing a lot better. And now the judge at the time, he was providing great support, but I just could not do them. My legs were ruined and I was absolutely ready to go home. Now looking at me here, why on earth would I ever sign up to do another one? My body was wrecked, I was exhausted, and I felt absolutely dreadful. Oh, and we're about to finish. I was so relieved to get over that finish line. Actually quite surprised how hard that was in its entirety. The runs just got harder and harder and harder. Until you've pretty much got nothing left in your legs, and then you're expected to do 100 wall balls, which is seemingly impossible. But it was a challenge, and I'm glad I did it. Got 1 hour 22 minutes, which one day I may choose to come and beat once the pain has faded. So that was my very first Hyrox, back at Manchester 2022. Now I look back at that footage, I look back at these photos very, very fondly. This was not only the first Hyrox that I did, but it was the very first hybrid fitness competition overall that I've taken part in. In addition to that, this is where my YouTube channel started, this very YouTube channel. Before this, my YouTube channel was just a place to dump videos of things that I'd done. I didn't really structure the content very well. It wasn't presented in a way I wanted other people to consume it. But after this point, I realized that there might be a better use for my content. A little bit of a fact, Mark Lewis was also running out in this event. In fact, about my run 3, his wave sort of cascaded out of the start tunnel right into my own. And I even feature in the background of his video. Now, after I came back from Manchester, I saw the video that Mark Lewis put out, and it was very well presented and well formatted, very funny. It was great. And yeah, it got those cogs turning in my brain that I could do more with the content that I was filming. So that started. It didn't start straight away, but by Birmingham in that October, I was starting to do things very differently, and it all sort of cascaded from there. So Hyrox Manchester 2022, you are the birthplace of Hyrox hybrid fitness competitions and this YouTube channel. So with regards to everybody else, the newbies that are watching or the potential people that are about to do a Hyrox event, my advice to you is to go into your first Hyrox with discovery in mind. Figure out what you are strong at, figure out what you are weak at, figure out what you enjoy. Take the stats that you get from the event, the very granular stats you get from each exercise station, go away and work on everything, but most specifically work on your weaknesses. If that's one bit of advice that I'm prepared to give out, work on your weaknesses. And for me, that's always been burpees. That's something I've very much focused on over the last 6 months, and that's where I've made the most gains. Now, there's going to be lots of people out there that can relate to this type of content. Everybody has an origin story. Everybody has a first Hyrox that they've been to. More often than not, those people will have been humbled by the experience. Don't always think you have to ace it on your first try. I've always found that a little bit of trial and error and incremental changes over time seem to yield the best results. Don't always expect to get better with each and every event. But overall, if you remain consistent in your training, work on your weaknesses, you will find that you will progress through this sport very well. Before you know it, you'll be looking down the barrel of 14 events thinking, Jesus, how the hell did I get here? Just like me. I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that I have spoken to, everybody that has engaged me with my YouTube channel, everybody that has taken the time to press the subscribe button since I started making these videos. It means the world to me that you guys are prepared to press play, endure these silly adverts that pop up, and watch the content that I put out. Moreover, the people that approach me on race day, shake my hand, take a picture, all of that stuff is awesome. It is by far the best consequence of taking part and making YouTube videos about Hyrox. Right, I will see some of you at my next Hyrox, which is London Olympia, and then Cardiff, and then later in the year Birmingham, etc, etc. And I will see the rest of you in my next video soon. Now don't forget to subscribe, there's a little button here. I almost forgot it. Right, see you soon guys. Mart out.